Dr. Sproul, it's good to see you again.
Oh, it's nice to see you, Steve. I enjoy these little explorations and quests for little nuggets of gold.
There we go. And you pulled out a really good nugget of gold here. We're once again in your library, and I'm holding one of your books in my hand. And it's a beautiful book. First of all, we just need to say that. And the content is great. So this is Thomas Watson, A Body of Divinity. So let's first set the context. What is this book, and who is this?
Well, Watson was a Puritan, of course, yes. And he so reflects the spirit of the Puritan movement. There was a theology that was always mixed with doxology, where you wouldn't just read flat expositions of doctrine, but it's like the Apostle Paul. When they were expounding doctrine, they couldn't keep their souls in check. They had to express their love and delight. You know, like Edwards.
The sweetness of God.
There's two words that were most used in his word: sweetness and excellence. And you could tell. I mean, Edwards had a genuine religious affection, and that's what you find
in the Puritans
modeled here in Watson. And Watson, of course, had a strong belief that people should be catechized in the Christian faith, and so he didn't just pontificate about that and look back at the first century church that followed that pattern of proclamation, then followed up by catechism or the dinoke, the instruction. And what he does is works here with the Westminster Catechism, and gives an exposition of the Catechism. And starting, with the first article, what is man's chief end? Man's chief end is to glorify God and to enjoy Him forever. And
that's the introduction.
That's the introduction.
Just the introduction.
And what he does is his work is filled with nuggets of gold, where each heading, each subdivision of his work is worth reading just for its literary quality, for its lyrical, way in which it speaks not only to the mind, which it does that so eloquently and clearly, but it just directly moves from the mind to the heart.
It does. I'm looking here. So the introduction is on the first question. And so when we say body of divinity, we're talking about a system of theology.
That's exactly right.
And that system of theology for him came to him from the Westminster Standards.
Yes.
And so these were sermons, too. We've got to remember that.
Yes.
This isn't for some academic classroom. No. This is for the people of God. But when he gets to this, man's chief end, and he says, what is it to glorify God? And the very first thing he says is appreciation. He says to glorify God is to set God highest in our thoughts and to have a venerable esteem of Him. Yes. He goes on to talk about wonder and delight. He says it's like a constellation of beauties.
Yes, that's it. Esteem, and what he does when he explains what it means to esteem something, to place a supreme value on it. And which is what he does with his whole understanding of the character of God. Again, it's not just an intellectual exercise there of dotting the I's and crossing the T's, but the soul is being moved to the sheer delight in God.
You've got a lot of underlining in this book, Dr. Sproul.
I know.
And right after he says we should appreciate God, and I think you wrote in the margin here, to honor Him, to esteem Him most excellent. But right after that, he says this: glorifying God consists in adoration or worship, to worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness.
Well, I can remember what I was thinking when I wrote that little marginal note, when I wrote honor Him, was that when the Apostle Paul in his epistle to the Romans describes the universal sin, the primordial sin of all human beings, is that while we know God, we refuse to honor Him as God, and neither are we grateful.
Yeah.
And I've thought a lot about that in recent years that what it is that it's not simply that we don't honor God. That's not the problem. What the world, in its rejection and suppression of God's revelation, does not really turn to atheism. It turns to paganism and
Idols.
idolatry.
Yes.
And so that there's this substitution, there's distortion,
right.
the exchange of the truth for the lie, and serving worship the creature rather than the Creator, who is blessed forever. And the problem is that religion is all around us. And there is this worship of God, but it is not worshiping God as God.
Yeah.
As God, who God is.
And
this is what I love about this book, is that this book expounds the God that we worship, who God is, and how it means to adore and venerate and esteem the God who is the true living God.
This is a great place to start for theology. Yes. Not only with the doctrine of God, but with the worship of God.
Exactly.
As our starting point.
My professor in Amsterdam,
this Berkouwer.
Berkouwer, said, all true theology must begin and end with doxology. And that struck me.
That has stuck with you, that
It
phrase.
struck me because when I was reading in seminary and reading guys like Tillich and so on, you never caught this sense of doxology.
Yeah. It's all analytic. And
it was analytical and interesting, but it wasn't the stuff that stirs the soul.
Yeah, that's right. It's not helpful. Somewhere in this book, I remember there's a line where Watson says that he's writing this so that we're not feathery Christians. And I think what he means by that is the winds do blow, right? They come.
Yes, they do.
And if you're a feathery Christian, you're going to get just
you just
away.
are blown away in the slightest wind of doctrine.
And
a little zephyr will take you off of the mark.
That's right. Yeah. We want a little solidity and stability.
Yeah.
So we get that in Thomas Watson and Puritans. Do you think people should read this book today?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Well, it's a beautiful book. It's Thomas Watson, A Body of Divinity, and we've been visiting in your library, Dr. Sproul. So thank you for letting us come in and spend some time.
You're very welcome. Yes, indeed.
Thanks.